Sasa watu watuone alivyo kuja.
Mimi ni mfungwa tena mjinga, nimejileta gerezani tena, sikuwaza nitakuwa mateka. Najua ulinizungusha sana, yaliyo ni mambo ya ujana, kukupenda wewe sijuti. Maneno yalisemwa mengi sana, na wakati nilikata tamaa, kukupenda wewe sichoki. Ila majibu ya upendo ulishakosa, acha waseme nimekupendea nini. Ila majibu ya upendo ulishakosa, acha waseme nimekupendea nini. Tuna upendo uko nje ya maneno, ila vitendo. Kama Mungu akipenda atanena vipi kwa maneno, sina vitendo. Kiziwi hata ukimwambia nakupenda, wala hasiki, ila vitendo. Wewe sijui sababu za kukupenda, siwezi sema ila taona. Najua nilizungusha sana, yaliyo ni mambo ya ujana, kukupenda wewe sijuti.
All right, so I'm trying to Billian is trying to join, so maybe in a short while Billian will be joining. So we just wait for Billian to join and then we'll start. Right?
Yeah, I'm just giving you company.
Sure, thank you, Grace. Billian is joining shortly, so these guys are joining, so yeah.
Ukipenda usishangae mpofu wa moyo, kumbe moyo umerubuni, ukusema umependa nini. Ila majibu ya upendo ulishakosa, acha waseme nimekupendea nini. Ila majibu ya upendo ulishakosa, acha waseme nimekupendea nini.
Right. All right, so just a minute. I want to set this studio. All right, so I want to welcome everyone joining tonight's conversation. So tonight we'll be joined by a young man, 1 Billian Okoth Ojiwa. So I'm just waiting him to join, but I just said before he joins, maybe we can start this conversation as he joins. So basically, Okoth will be talking about his initiatives he's doing in the community, especially is working with slums and rural area. And okay, maybe I don't want to talk on his behalf, so I just wait for him to come. But maybe Grace, you can introduce yourself since you joined before the guest, which is really good. and you are #1 supporter of Okoth, which is good. Yeah. All right, introduce yourself.
Yes. Chris, okay, good evening, guys. Yes, so I am Grace Mageka. Conrad is coming in. Okay, I am Grace Mageka from Kenya. I'm a student in Italy. Yeah, guys, we are done with the lockdown. We go out. Yeah.
So
But
there's no.
we are still studying online. We are still studying online. Even now, you can see me doing something. I'm doing something here, but like the classes are online. Yay! What's up?
Nice. Billian, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you, man. It seems you came.
We are here to give you support.
Good to see you all too. Sorry for being late, yeah. I'm sorry for being late.
No, it's okay. Your supporters joined before you. Yes. All right.
Yeah.
So we are going to have this conversation for a better part of tonight. But maybe, Billian, I want to explain how this conversation will run. So we'll have you introduce yourself. After you introduce yourself, maybe first the first person who will introduce himself themselves are actually our panelists. After they introduce themselves, and then we go to you. You introduce yourself. After that, we'll talk about your project and your initiatives, what you are doing. After you do that, we'll actually get the questions. The panelists will ask you questions, and also viewers will ask you questions, or they are actually allowed to join and ask you questions. I don't know if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Good, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So number one, Grace is she's one person who is your number one supporter.
I'm also a number one supporter. Yeah?
Yeah, so she joined before you.
I
All right.
know.
Great. So let's start. Conrad,
Where
you
is
can introduce us.
Nerima? Are you not joining
Yeah.
with Nerima?
No. She's not joining. She's
Everyone was
saying
waiting
no.
for Nerima,
She's on the other side saying no. She's not feeling well, yeah.
It's okay. Billian. Now, let's start the introduction from Conrad, and then we'll go to Grace, and then there is another other panel who will join. But let's start that way. Maybe Conrad, you can go.
Hello, Billian and Grace. My name is
Hey.
Conrad, joining. Yeah, my name is Conrad
Hi.
Sanya, joining in from Busia. And today I'm early a bit, so for the first time I've joined early.
It is good. All right, Grace, you introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Grace Mageka from Kenya. I specifically joined you on time because I really like what Billian is doing. He's a role model to most young people, and I wish everyone could do something in our own community. So let's stay tuned to see what Billian is doing so that we can get 2-3 things that we can do in our communities as well.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grace.
All right, Billian, now you can take
welcome.
Yeah, so my name is Billian Ojiwa from Madare, a community activist pushing for social change. So before the COVID-19, I am running my foundation, the Billian Foundation, and another organization called Fichauchi Initiative. So yeah, so I'm basically in that circle of trying to see the best out of our communities and our country.
Great. Yeah. So, Billian, maybe the first thing I want you to explain is about how do you make sustainable community initiatives. Especially, I understand your project, which you have been doing, especially in this COVID-19 crisis, which is really good. You have been designing initiatives in terms of you give vouchers, foodstuffs, among maybe masks, PPEs, among other things. Maybe you can tell us how you run those initiatives, how do you design them, and how actually going forward we can actually design initiatives that are sustainable for our communities.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So like I mentioned, I run a couple of initiatives now that supports. Somebody's joining.
Okay. Continue, Billian.
Yeah, so sorry for that. So like I mentioned, I run a couple of initiatives now that are supporting, that are based in the community to try and help our community throughout this COVID-19 period. So one of it is giving food to different people in the community. We started by giving water, and now we're giving food through voucher system. So what we do is just, for me, I believe in creativity. So just thinking out of the box, because there are people somewhere that are willing to support. They don't want to do the dirty work, but if the design is well crafted, it's innovative, then they will always plug in. So we're working with, we're in collaboration with a couple of organizations. The Crime Power from Madare, from Islam's, we have 7th Memorial Park, we have Kenya United, we have Footprints for Change also from Madare. So coming together, one brings one, first of all, makes you be credible, because we are doing this, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the community is well served. So brings the credibility, and everybody comes on board with their strength. So we have Kenya Unite, who handles our finances. We have Footprint for Change, who does the mapping. So I think what has been happening, why our design is working, and it's because we are open and we are pushing for new ideas to change, to do things in our community. So those are the things that people have been plugging into. We've had a couple of organizations whom we are not working with, but are giving us money or giving us food or saying we'll sponsor 2, 3, 5, 100. We've had Madarians in diaspora coming together, mobilizing resources and saying, we really want to support what you're doing because it's a credible initiative. We've had Rockefeller Foundation bringing us food also, and it's because of the platform and and being open. Young people, we are known to be kind of fishy, but if you're running an initiative and you are open with everyone and you're giving it your all, sometimes there are people who are given food to go and distribute in the community, and then they hand over that initiative to other people to do it on their behalf.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for that starting remarks on this conversation. Maybe first, I just want to get maybe guys asking you questions in terms of how you design your initiatives and how people respond to your initiatives, especially whereby you actually, how do you know these people are the ones who will be needy for these, maybe these vouchers you are giving or this food? How do you assess that? So maybe I want people, panels asking you question on that subject. Maybe Conrad, let's start with you, and then we go to Violet, and then we go to Wekesa.
Okay, I've been I've actually been following your projects through social media, being an interested person in how such projects are formulated. So my question is how do you come about with because distribution of food and the rest of the things require at least a network of people to do it, or at least people to be able to get those in need. So how do you do that? How do you assess the needs of the people and how do you what kind of workforce do you use? Do you use volunteers or you use the people themselves in the community to do the work, especially in the distribution of things and the rest of the things you are doing?
Okay, can I answer that, or yeah?
Yeah.
So we we designed the process or the initiative in a way that we want to reach the, Madara is already a needy area even without COVID-19, and we know there's people who are most needy. So we've been working around to see the best methods to use to reach the most needy. And the people that we thought that were very close to those families that understand the family setups are community health volunteers. So community health volunteers are in charge of different, in our area, they're in charge of villages. Before, I have worked with them in doing a couple of research, and I thought they would come in handy to make sure that we get the most needy, because they understand we call them the udakus wa mtaa. They know who fought with who is sleeping hungry. Like, they have the nitty-gritties, the finite details of what is happening in our community. So that's why we engage them. So they help us come up with a list. We also engage youth leaders from those areas. So in case there's a special case that we passed, then the youth leaders who are also from those communities help us to do that. But we also do a verification. Like now, tomorrow is Friday. We're giving food on Saturday. So tomorrow we have we call an information center. So we will randomly call these people that are on the list and ask them random questions and see if they're genuine cases. We've had cases where somebody is writing their relatives in Kayole or in Oruma and even Nakuru, hoping that they'll be given the voucher and then they can use that voucher on behalf of somebody else. So we also do some thorough verifications, and I think after doing a couple of areas, now the system has been working. Last weekend we did not have any issue with the families, and because we don't give everybody in the community, the challenge or what we go through is, if you don't give genuine cases, then you will get the community protesting. So you have to make sure that the people who are getting the food are super deserving. Otherwise, there'll be a backlash from the community complaining why they've left. We are leaving people who are super needy and giving people who are able to support themselves. We've had a case where somebody had a relative come to pick the food, and the relative has a shop.
Wow.
So it's the community who protested and said, no, you are not going to pick that, because us, we don't know them. So the community said, we cannot allow that to happen. There's a mama somewhere that is going to sleep hungry, and your husband is working, you have a shop. It's so unfair for you to receive the food. So those are the channels that we've been using, and they've been really helpful. I'm learning a lot from them, and I think if I was the government and I wanted to adopt a system how we can support the vulnerable communities, not even chief knows, not even village elders understand those families. I think community health volunteers are in a better place to give us the details and even the list of people who are super needy. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, Conrad, I hope your question has been answered. We'll come around. Maybe if you haven't, we'll actually get you time. All right, Violet. Hi, Violet. Violet, can you unmute your mic, maybe from your side, Violet? All right, let me move to Wekesa before we solve the issue with Violet. Wekesa, are you there?
Unmute.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're good. I'm sorry.
All right.
Continue.
Hey. I've unmuted.
Yeah, continue now.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm happy. I just decided, let me just sneak in to congratulate Billian for the incredible work he's doing. So Billian, you're doing awesome work. Pass my love to Nerima. She has decided not to appear on the show, but pass my love to her. So I just wanted to ask you, like, you see, like now the government through the COVID-19 task force, they have decided that they're going to give money to various counties. So I wanted to know, like now in Madare, are they using your organization to channel now the funds to the needy? And then after that, the second question is, I wanted to know have other county governments called you so that maybe you can share the best practice on how your system has worked pretty well? And thirdly, if I was given the opportunity, I would like to maybe even mobilize youth so that you can also be in the task force of COVID-19, the National Contingency Fund, because you're just doing an incredible work. So yeah, so those are my two questions. And then now I will sneak out so that now the panelists, the ones who are usually here, can now take part. Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
Violet.
Thank you so much, Violet. Great to hear from you. I'll pass your greetings to Nerima after this. First of all, funds. You ask if the funds are channeled through us. You know, the government. The government knows it all. That's how they do it. They don't. They don't like to be challenged. They don't like to look like they're weak. So, so we've had a conversation with the DC from our area. We've had a conversation with our chief and explained to them our channel, because they know we do this every Saturday. And they said they've tried to pitch it at the higher levels, but it didn't go through. So maybe they have their reasons. So we are not working with any government entity at the moment, but we have been having a conversation with the local authorities. Whenever we are giving food, whenever we're giving the vouchers, we inform the chief, we inform the police, and sometimes we even given 1 or 2 policemen to come with us to just make sure that everything runs smoothly. Yeah, so I think that is the best we've done with the government. I have looked at some of the people, because some of the things that we do is verifying if these people are needy and deserves what we are giving them, and some of the questions that we ask them, if they've been receiving any money from the government. And so far, 70% or 90% of the people that we've been calling, they've not been receiving the money from the government. So we are wondering who is getting that money that are meant for them. And I don't want to blame anyone, but I know, because I understand human beings. This list have been, the government rushed with the list. At some point, I was at a chief's office. When people are bringing list, nobody is verifying the list. Whether those people are in Siaya and receiving money on behalf of people of Madare, we can't verify, because it was a haste. They really wanted to look like they were doing something, so they had to at least start doing something. So we could be giving money to even some of the civil servants who are receiving salaries, because we don't know who was involved in making the list. But I don't want to blame them. Maybe they know how they did their thing, but I hope the right people are getting the support too. And I hope they have a proper plan of doing verification, even if it takes time, doing monitoring and evaluation, so that they understand if even the money they're giving is making an impact. Otherwise, things will remain the same. About county government, I've had a conversation with Kajiado County. I met the county first lady, and we were supposed to do the same in her county. She was supposed to run with our same model in her county, but unfortunately or fortunately, the county government took over, so we stepped aside. So I was supposed to help them do the model. And as I said, the county government thinks that they are masters of everything. So they did not need me to be there to help them. I'm sure there's still a few loopholes, because we had the loopholes when we were starting, but then they were just picking voucher. We were going to give the vouchers. So I wish them all the best. But I hope, because me and my team were ready to volunteer to help them to make sure that it's working to a stage where, because I'm sure they can easily throw it, abort it, hoping that it's not working. So that is the conversation. That is the only county government that I've engaged, and I hope I've been waiting to see if it's running or it's covered by the media, but I've not been able to see it. So maybe they're still working on it. Yeah.
All right. Violet, do you have any other question or perspective to Billian at this point. All right, so we proceed forward if Violet is okay. Are you okay, Violet?
Maybe Wekesa can.
All right, so let me move to
Yes,
Wekesa.
I'm okay.
Okay, good. So I'll proceed with
I'm
Wekesa.
okay. Am I on mute?
No,
No.
you're not on mute. All right. So Wekesa, maybe first introduce yourself and weigh in this topic as we start.
Yes, my name is Wekesa Eric. I am in a county where we have a White House. You have seen White House was unveiled. Huh? So partly I'm in the US of Machakos. Okay, I deal with sales and marketing. I'm excited to meet Billian, Violet, and the resident panelists. I will say that Billian, you are doing a good job, and it's not always easy. Bibi is laughing because I'm in her motherland.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so it's not always easy when you are doing the right thing. And most of the time when you begin, but you reach at a point where a lot of different voices coming and they might distract you. So I wanted to ask Billian whether he has interacted with people who want to hijack the process. I know there was a time. I know there's a time we began a acute course.
Yes.
After the 2008 post-election violence. And when you are busy doing what you think is the right thing to the public, when people see that it's becoming a popular cause, they want to hijack the idea. And most of them are driven with political motives. And maybe that's why your way of doing things is different from especially those who have political ambitions. You realize that for anybody who want to gain from the process, first you have to do it with the cameras on. Then you also have to ensure that you are getting a lot of mileage, political mileage, as you're doing the same. Do you have any conflict of interest since you began the process? Then how have you managed the challenges on the ground because of the Kenyan society? You know, most Kenyans, when there was a cause of helping the IDPs, almost everybody ran into the camp to be helped. Everybody wanted to become an IDP. So how are you managing to get the genuine cases and those cases, people who want to write on the opportunities presented by your organization? Okay, you may answer those two first.
Great to hear from you, Wekesa, and congratulations for the White House. We will visit once the borders are open. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would say it's a priority. I don't know if it's the upside down priority at the moment, but I am sure Violet is happy that they have a White House in her backyard now. Anyway, on a light note, though, about hijacking the idea, yes, we have had a couple of other groups that are trying to copy the same, but you know, I've had the same thing with a couple of initiatives that I've run. when I was doing a Fichauchi, there's a politician who tried to do it even in Machakos County. It backfired, and because we had a conversation, I explained to her what we do, and she thought that she could do it herself. It backfired on her, and everybody was fighting her on Twitter, and then she had to call me to help her now put out the fire. So it's something that I know Kenyans love copy pasting, even without deeply understanding what it is, and even contacting. I don't have a problem if somebody is doing it in Homa Bay or doing it in Mombasa, as long as they're doing the right thing. Because if it backfires, people will start questioning what we have been doing too. So that is my only problem that I have. So yeah, so we've had a couple of groups in the community who are also trying to do the same, but not to the level of how we are doing it, because ours is only once a week, Saturdays, and we make sure that for that Saturday it's a serious thing that has been done. I would not say that Kajiado County hijacked it fully, but I was thinking, as pioneers of an idea, I think sometimes it's just good to also acknowledge. I know they will not not do so, because it will make them feel like weaker people or taking ideas from others, and also in involving them. I don't really want to be on the front line, but I really want to see the idea grow into other areas. And right now we are also working to develop it into the digital system, where we don't have to go there physically. We don't have to give the papers to the mamas. We can just be having an application, and people get the food through an application. So if a county adapts it and we transition to the next level, it means they did not pick that element, so they will not be able to also grow the idea. So hoping that not hijacking, but working together and seeing how best we can serve. It's not time to just stamp now, because our people are suffering, and we are giving food not because we want to look great. It's because people really need it. So I hope anybody that is doing it out there, I'll not feel offended when I hear somebody doing it somewhere else, as long as they're doing it well, because at the end of the day, it's supposed to serve the people, to make sure that the people get the best out of it. And the measure, it comes with, there's no crowding, there's so much done to it. You support the local shopkeepers, which we've not been doing. We've been buying food from wholesalers and thinking like, we are helping. The moment we are helping, but we're also killing the local economies, because the mama mbogas, the local shopkeepers really depend on that 10 bob, that 100 bob from Unga that their neighbors are buying from them. So if we really want to support our economy, we should also invest in these people, and you'll get the difference is only 2 shillings or 5 shillings only, and you use transport and you support somebody who is already established. These people are in the community, they are affected directly by the COVID-19. There is no much that is happening in the community. So I think when we are donating, when we are supporting, let's look into those, and that has always been how I look at things. I want to make sure that the local people get the best out of the small that we are doing. Talking about managing to, I think I mentioned this about how we get the genuine cases, and I said we've had some cases where we get cases of somebody who is in Nakuru and they're supposed to receive food in Madare, and they have to be there physically. So we have a verification center. So tomorrow our team of 5-10 people will be verifying the 250 families that we're serving on Saturday, and making sure that they're genuine people. We've had a case where we canceled the whole list when we realized that half of the list were young people who are working in car washes, who are able to fight for themselves. And just because they love themselves more than the community, they decided to put their names. So they didn't know that we will do the verification. So when we're doing the verification, we ask you where you are, and I said, niko hustling too hapo, uko wapi? So those have helped us to make sure that we the genuine cases get the food. I don't bring that food at home. I would wish to be helped too, but there are people who really need that food. And if we're in positions where we are supposed to help, let's do so. I've had a problem with a couple of authorities too. You're going to give food, and a senior policeman is calling, giving you 20, 30 calls so that they can also have a home. And there's a mama in the community that cannot even afford to, like, that is the only hope that they have. So I think as Kenyans, sometimes we love ourselves more, and that's why we do the verification to make sure that the right people are getting, and we are engaging, like I said, we are engaging community health volunteers who are grassroots food soldiers. We are engaging youth group leaders who we've trained as leaders. So and part of the things that we train them is being open, transparency, and being able to serve the community passionately. So they help us weed out a few of such cases. I know it's not 100%, but we try to make it 90 or 80% of genuine cases getting the support. Thank you.
Thank you, Billian. That's a very good explanation of your work. So thank you very much. But I want maybe first to mention, Fred is saying good job. He's saying kudos, you are doing a good job. So Franny is following, and also Nina and other people. So basically, if you want to join and ask Billian any question, you are free to join. The link is on the comment box. Now, Billian, I just want to move to how do we make initiatives sustainable for long term. Of course, at this time, it has been like a health war. This COVID-19 has been a health war, but the most important, it's also now like crashing families, and also maybe disintegrating even the members of the families. Now, first, even before you go to the details of how we can make these long-term sustainable projects, maybe I want to know what inspires you, or can you share a bit of your background? Where do you get your inspiration to do these things? Because some of us are quarantined and we are not doing these things. We are scared of even getting this. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I think I'm passionate about service. This is my award in 2013, Young Kenyan Service Award. I got another award for Volunteer of the Year by the UNDP last year. So I think my drive is also just community. I feel I owe the community more because I got the support from the community when I was growing up, and also when I felt that things falling apart after losing my parents. So the drive has always been, the community has been there for me. It has shaped me. It has given me the opportunities. It has given me the limelight. It has given me a family. So everything that I do, I give credit to God for everything, and also my community. And I've had people who really support me and have been supporting me even when my ideas were just ideas. So that's where I get my inspiration, and I want the best for my community. I am privileged to have traveled and have seen how other areas look like. And my dream has always been seeing my community getting, even not there, but getting close to there. And it starts with the small things that we're doing, making sure that people understand why and what they're doing, making sure that people go to school, making sure that people are exposed, making sure that we push for those opportunities, we go for the opportunities. So they're just the little things that can really elevate our community. So those are the things that drives me, and yeah, I love that place with my whole heart. So yeah, so genuinely, that's what drives me. I go to an extent sometimes even using the small resources that we have as a family to make sure that we do what we can as a family, do what we can. And just to link that to your first question, how we sustain, I think we all want to be part of something that we trust. We all want to be part of a success story, and we have always been giving people the confidence by seeing them seeing us investing our small resources, investing our time, and being passionate about those things. So when we started the campaign with the initiative with the group that we are working with, the Seventh Memorial, everybody contributed their money. So we contributed some small money to do the first one. And when we launched the online campaign for people to be donating, guys have been organizing themselves. Guys from Madare who are in diaspora have organized themselves because they're seeing what we are doing. So those are part of ways of sustaining initiatives. Of like you make it creative enough, you make it accommodative enough, you accommodate other people, we accommodate even ideas, we involve as many people as we can, so that, and we also make sure that what we're doing is visible. I know there are many people who are doing amazing job, and since they're not as noisemakers as Billian and the team, nobody can recognize some of the work they're doing. So packaging what you're doing and sharing it out is part of sustainability. People will always come on board to ask, how do we support? Right now, we are planning to give 250 families food on Saturday. We've had offers of 500 cabbages already that we're supposed to pick. We've been able already to raise money for 200 families. So we are only working on 50 to see how we cover that 50. So it's how genuine you are. I know there are people who are not even genuine also in the same cause. They pledge, they come up with fundraising activities. They engage people. People donate, but they don't see the value for their donation. So that is what we are doing. And I love thinking outside the box, because COVID will come and go, and part of sustaining what you're doing is also thinking outside the box. Right now, we're starting to think about the COVID hangover. After COVID-19, there'll be a period where nobody will be bringing food to the community. How do we cover ourselves as a community? Because that is the stage where the government will withdraw the support, the private sector will withdraw the support, the individuals that have been supporting, giving one or two, will withdraw the support. Some of the people that have been working in companies, it will be slow. People still don't have money. So they will have like 2 months where there'll be a serious hangover. There's no money circulating. So now with our team, we are trying to see how do we support the mama bogas, how do we support the mamas of chapatis once COVID-19 is over. So that is how we sustain. So trying to think beyond what is happening now. Right now, when it started, everybody had a hand washing station. You could walk nearly 2 steps and you get a hand washing station, because that was the in thing. Then now everybody is giving food, and I was having this conversation with my brother-in-law and other friends. I think we also lack the leadership. Everybody is now giving food at an individual level. The government has not given us their strategy, how they want to counter the COVID-19. We don't have a work plan. How do we, as a team, as a community, as small organized groups, do we help or do we contribute to the bigger plan of the government? Everybody's just doing their things blindly. People are taking advantage of the situation. We are assuming that the government is taking advantage of the situation. So it might take us longer because there's no proper strategy and even the duration how we want to handle this. So I wished the government had a proper work plan, and all of us work backwards and say, let's make sure that all the old people are not exposed. Let's make sure that all the old people around your area have something to eat. Let's make sure that old people around your area, or those who who are vulnerable have masks. People would contribute to that bigger picture, and then let's make sure that right now people are working in schools. If you look now, the advantaged students are having Zoom classes. Children in Madare are not having Zoom classes because the government doesn't have a strategy for all the children. So everybody is just doing their bit. So if the government would have told us now, in terms of education, this is our work plan. Please, if you are coming from a neighborhood or Safaricom and Airtel can provide free internet to such communities to allow their children to also get or access some of the learning materials. Because at the end of the year, all of them are going to do exams. We will start saying watoto wa Madare are not going to school, watoto wa Madare, people are like, they'll be, and then we start having tags and we blame them and we kill them. Yet there are missteps that we had when we're having like such a situation, and we are neglecting them, and then at the end of the day we are blaming them and we are blaming that whole community. So that is my how I would crown the whole question.
All right, good. Wekesa, maybe I want you to weigh in terms of maybe if you have any question in that question of inspiration, where Billian draws his inspiration and how his packaging is sustainable projects post-corona. Wekesa, are you there?
Amanda State House, White House.
White House.
Yes, uliza swali sasa.
Yeah, I'm saying maybe you can weigh in terms of how Billian has explained where he draws his inspiration and how he's packaging the community services he's providing to become sustainable post-corona.
Okay. I think I wanted to ask him about, okay, I know you are not working alone, huh? You're working with quite a number of people and organizations or families that are supporting you and inspiring you to move forward. Have you ensured that you are, one, giving them the feedback on the ground of what their donations is doing and the impact is creating on the ground? And then two, are you accountable for the resources that you are given? Most people come up with good initiatives, but they are never accountable to the people who support the idea or who support the vision. And therefore, if the whole process is over, you may not even be able to begin another course if at all you are called upon to help in a different forum. I also want to know why are you defaulted so much on this course? What is your end game? What do you want to get out of feeding people? Why are you not teaching them like Babu Wino? Why food? So what informed your perspective in terms of supporting the community? And then I also want to know, have you assessed the need on the ground? Because najua wanasemanga vitu kwa ground ni different. Maybe the government and we need to know, we get the feedback from people who are on the ground. We can be planning in the space and saying we have 500 people who are needy and we are going to use this amount of money to reach them. But when you go to the ground, vitu ni different. Give us your postmortem after having sampled a few areas.
Yeah, Billian.
All right, thank you so much. I think I will start with your first question about the feedback. With food, if you've been getting an instant feedback, you give people food and you see their faces, you see how they feel. You don't even need to go back and ask them if that was really good. And given that we are not giving complicated food, we give the basic foods. We've been trying to work on also healthy foods. We've had a couple of nutritionists advising us on some of the foods that people should have to also boost the immune system. So we had a case where we're also introducing our community to new foods, but we are encouraging them and telling them that these foods are good because it boosts their immune system. So the feedback, you don't need to go back and get the feedback. It's an instant feedback. But nevertheless, we've also been getting calls. If you did a clean job, you get also requests from other areas. We've had women coming to the office. We've had people saying, we saw what you did in Uruma, we saw what you did in Kosovo. Please be in Madare 4C. We are also here. We are organized. We really love to support. And as we don't want you to support us, we have older women who really need that support. So how can we work together? We've also seen other partners coming on board because they're seeing what we're doing. So I think they have their ears on the ground, and then they get the feedback and they come in to support. So generally that is what we do. I know it's not so much support if you're giving somebody food of a voucher worth 500 shillings. I know it's not so much, but at least it helps bridge some gap as we wait for things to cool down, or as we wait for other people to come, or government interventions. So what we've been doing is not much, but we hope and been believing that it goes a long way. The two is accountability. I'm a project manager by profession, so I understand the nitty-gritties of the project management. I run my foundation, which is besides what I'm doing right now, and I think one of the things that people around us and what makes your organization or your initiative different from others is how transparent or how accountable you are to the people that are supporting. I do that by working with other people. So in our team, like I mentioned, we have the 7th Memorial Park, we have Crimes Depower, we have Kenya Unites, and we have Footprints for Change. So in this team, Kenya Unites, the collection, because we do an mchanga collection, the collection goes straight to the account of the Kenya Unites. They are our auditors. So they receive the money on behalf of all of us. They send the money to the team that is working on the ground. So some of us, our work is just mapping and resource mobilization, making sure that we have. Every week, Footprints for Change gives us reports of the weekly distribution. I think it's also a good thing that tomorrow I will share the last 5 weeks that we've been giving food. I can share the reports of the detailed reports of all the distributions that we've had. And we are, the good thing about working with the groups, you're accountable to each other because everybody wants to protect their organization's reputations and interests. So that one keeps us all on toes. So we are accountable to the last coin, that we get, and we channel it directly to what it's supposed to do. So I hope that is answered. About the end game, I think for me, my end game is making sure, nobody saved for COVID-19. Nobody had a strategic plan for COVID-19. Nobody saw this coming. Even when we were breaking for Christmas and seeing this happening in China, there were so many theories that blinded us that we did not plan for it. So it made vulnerable communities to be more vulnerable. it made people who are able to take care of themselves to start sliding towards being vulnerable. Today, I was having a conversation with other young people who were saying, we are giving the old people, we are thinking that they are only people that needs the support. Young people are not working right now, and they wanaona aibu. They don't want to come out to ask for the support. They would rather snatch somebody. They would rather do crazy things in the community than line to or come and ask for one unga and sugar. So that is my end game. My end game is I belong in that community. I have been supported with that community. I know how bad, if this COVID hits our community, how bad it can really, really, really damage our community because of our way of living, because how our structures are, because of the knowledge that our people have. Even up to today, we are still convincing people to wear a mask. The police had to be driving around to tell people to wear a mask. We had to start making free masks to distribute to the community. So my end game is that I totally understand my community, and I think that one will also take me to your next question: why we are giving unga and not teaching as Babu Owino? Because I understand my community. I know when we started, we were giving water. I went to Huruma, they asked me, sasa umetuletea maji, lakini sasa hii maji ni mzuri sana, nitanawa mkono, I will eat, I will cook, but there's no unga, there's nothing else to eat. Can you please get us some unga? I can hustle to get water because it's 5 shillings, it's 2 shillings, but it's a big burden because my husband is not working, I am not working, we are not able to get the unga. So the need of my community drove us towards that. We are also working on other, because we have priorities. We thought food was the most, the priority number one. Priority number two is our students are going to sit for the same examination as other students from Hurlingham and Runda who are having Zoom calls. So right now we are working on, we've set up a team with the university students who are around now, and we are going to cluster our students into 5 per group. We're going to take all the measures, give them masks, give them gloves, and follow up on some of the things, the assignments that we're giving them. We're going to do the cluster revisions. They are lessons that are offered through different platforms, the radios, the TVs. Some of them doesn't know. So we are also trying to do a follow-up. So maybe by next week, we'll be having our community now also gaining, if not much, but also being part of the education that is happening, so that when they get to sit for the exams, we are able to have better results. And I tell my community that we only have 2 things that can save us: is education and the talents or the innovations that we have. Everything else had been taken away from us. So we can only succeed through education or through our talents. So we have priorities. Maybe for Babu is the area people stocked their fridge with food stuff, and they're still able to sustain that, they're still able to eat. But our community, there are even no fridges, so nobody kept food in the fridge. So we have to start with the food. Then we go to education, and we go to now post-COVID hangover. How will we help our local business people, the small business people, to get back on their feet after COVID-19? So we have priorities. It's a little support. It's we're doing it in bits, but we have a way of doing that. The need assessment, like I said, everybody is vulnerable now. And even with the closing of Isili, most of our people cross the road, go to Isili, they carry luggages for people, they work in those shops, they hawk around, they sell the small bags, the Uhuru bags around, and what they get from there is what they divide, some for paying rent, some for that food for that day, some they save for the school fees. So some have been out of work for 2 weeks, or a month, so making everybody vulnerable. But we have other channels of making sure that we get the most vulnerable people in the community. I hope I answered your questions.
Okay, sir, I hope.
You've answered well. It's only there was one P2 which I mentioned maybe in passing, but let me put it direct so that you can clarify. And part of it is what Patrick asked. What is your source of inspiration? Okay, what do you want people to, we help people, but at the end of the game, what do you want people to see? Are you, if I'm religious, I'm helping people, but at the end of the day, I want them to know Muhammad, I want them to know Christ, I want them to know Buddha or whoever. If I'm just a philanthropist, maybe sometimes there are those who do it for fame, and there are those who begin a foundation, but they want to leave a legacy. Maybe it's an institution you want to leave behind. What drives you?
Wow. Hey. Wow. I think I was avoiding that question because I don't have a I don't have a specific answer. I'm still working on it. I think my inspiration is that we should share the love. I got the love from people around me. I get support. I belong to that community. But my biggest drive is being a role model. When we were growing up in that community, we did not have role models. We did not have people who could organize themselves, and that's why politicians would take advantage. Right now, I've had struggles. I have personally had conflicts with politicians who think that what I'm doing, they're supposed to be the one doing, and they're not doing it, and they still want to create ways of bringing it down. So we want to create models, and we want to let our community understand that we can organize ourselves locally and bring the best out of our community. Whatever the things that I've been using, the money that we've been spending, is not my money. I have just used the influence, the small influence that I have, to be able to make people believe in what we are doing. So I want to make our community to start believing in ourselves. When we started having this COVID-19, people started asking and questioning politicians and our elected leaders. Tunasikia njaa, muko wapi? Right now, there are many groups that have organized that are supporting their communities, and we are not complaining about politicians. And we are learning also the kind of people that we elected. So that is the one thing that I want to live in my community. I want to make them understand that we are a resource by ourselves. So if we organize ourselves well, we are able to get through any challenge that comes with it. We are an economy. We are able to support each other. We have the tailors that are making masks for Madare people. We make 250 masks every day. They're tailors from the community. The only thing we do is we buy materials. But before we organize that, we were complaining that the government has said we wear masks, we cannot see masks. So we have to start using the local resources that we have and being smart enough to be able to turn and support each other. So I think that is all I want to get from it. I want to see my community driving towards the social change. There are so many things that we will learn out of this, and we will be able to do. So my end game is seeing a better community, seeing a more empowered, a more informed community, and the legacy I want to leave behind is people being able to stand on their own feet. We don't need anybody to dictate on or take advantage of the situation to pull us towards a different direction or a certain direction. Yeah. So I hope I answered. I don't have a specific answer of the end game on what inspires me, but I think I just want to be able to work with the network And not just me, there are also other people who are doing amazing work. Maybe you would not know them, but there are also more people that are doing amazing work, and they'll tell you, we are inspired by what you are doing. We never thought that we could do it. So right now they can mobilize their friends, but at first they did not believe in themselves. They thought it's only the government that can help us. So yeah.
Thank you, Billian, for that. Maybe I just want to move forward, but let's get some perspective from Bernard. Bernard, I see you have weared your SME T-shirt. It's a statement to that you're actually a champion of SMEs, right? Which is good, yeah. So I want maybe you ask also Billian, maybe a question in terms of yeah, you ask a Billian a question, but I also want maybe you to dwell more also in terms of what SME can do at this crisis. Are they doing it? Are they having maybe CSR budgets that they can actually offer Billian, or what is the perspective?
Okay, thank you so much, Patrick, and my friend Wekesa. I had an opportunity to be with him during the day, and I'm glad to see him during the night too. I just want to congratulate my your guest, Billian, for the work he is doing. I started hearing about Billian long time ago, and I was very much interested in having an interaction with him on this particular platform, because what he is doing is amazing, especially to the community down there. Let me just take you back a little. In around 2012, I got an opportunity to campaign for somebody in Madare, Mabatini. I don't know whether he is also covering that area, but I can tell you I came face to face with poverty. I came face to face with extreme need for people to support a brother somewhere. And I just don't know how he chose Madare, and because we also have so many other slums. Maybe explain that before I joined, but I can tell you there are so many needy families in Madare, Mabatini. I was not vying for any position. I was only campaigning for somebody. So please, I'm not a politician there. Yeah.
Okay.
My question, my question is, Bwana Billian, I know you are a very young, brilliant man, and I was just going through your background. You are still very young, but what you've got yourself into is a noble initiative that not so many people are very comfortable pursuing. If you look at maybe your age, uh, save for the beard I have, I think maybe we are age mates. Yeah, but I'm looking at the pressure the society has placed on me. I also want something for myself. I also want something for my family. I also, in short, I have a dream separate from any other person. But here you are. What you are doing involves a lot of giving. You are giving. So my first question would be, uh, do you even have savings yourself as a Billian? Because you are giving a lot. Then number two is, to what point do you draw boundary from what people are giving you versus what you are using as Billian for your family, for your personal ambition, for your personal dreams? Because I believe that there is a question maybe either Eric or somebody else asked, where you are asked about accountability. What people are giving you, how are you accountable for it? or do you have even a separate source of income that you have just dedicated? This is going to sustain my family and it's going to my investment, or have you just decided that your investment is social investment on the people of Mathare? Or are you a believer in Christ that your investment is in heaven, therefore you need only to invest in the needy people here? The next question that I would ask you is, Eric has asked you about the end game, and Patrick also asked you about the end game. I don't want to imagine maybe your end game would want to would be either to vie for any elective seat in that area. Then that would mean you have hidden something in your back while showing us the other card. So my question would be, do you have a dream to vie for any elective position in the near future or even in the distant future? Because most of these people whom we are seeing today started just like that. We have our governor, we have even Babu Owino, whom my friend has talked about. He is my MP, but what you are talking about, I don't see. So maybe you'll tell me where he's doing that. But we see, oh yeah, he's teaching on YouTube. That is very okay. So do you have such a dream? Then finally, Patrick is talking about I putting on my SME.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say clearly that this one is a T-shirt I was given while I was working for an SME somewhere. But being a professional and an entrepreneur, I also look at myself and the entity I run as an SME. But we look at the environment under SMEs, under which SMEs are operating in, look at the government policies, look at so many other factors that would contribute even to an SME standing afloat. You'd come to a realization that today, even as we speak, not even today, last year alone, over 400 SMEs closed down. And last year, we were not talking about COVID-19. Now we have like a double tragedy. We have COVID, and also we have bad government policies that are there. So in terms of even putting something aside for CSR, first you'd look at what do I need to survive before I can even have something else to put aside to support a particular particular family. Yeah. So I would want to dwell so much on that even after he has responded to my questions. Thank you.
Okay,
All
Billian,
right.
you can respond, but
Yeah.
please be careful in those political questions. Yeah, they might be used against you.
First, you asked about why Mathare. Yes, I am from Mabatini. I hope your candidate won and is doing something. Even if he didn't win, I hope they're doing something on the ground. But I am from Mabatini, Bondeni area. If you know the Bondeni area, we've given food in Bondeni area. We've given food in Mashimoni area, which is now the heart of Mabatini. And why Mathare? I understand Mathare. I work in Mathare. I was raised in Mathare. I only know Mathare. I always call myself Billian for Mathare. So that one gives me the better understanding. I don't want to impose solutions to people, even in the areas that I don't understand. So the only thing that I can do, even with the guys in Kibra or Korogocho, is just share with them what we are doing and see if they can tailor make that thing to fit their community. So for me, I understand my community. I know even if I had 10 lorries of unga, when the lorries and we tell people to line up, we give them unga, there'll be people who will not get that unga. There'll be chaos even if everybody is assured that they'll be getting the unga. we will have half of the ungas that we brought being spoiled, or because people. So I understand my community better, and that's why I chose Madare. So I work there. I am there every day, whether I'm giving food or not giving food. So that is why we give Madare. But now we've stretched to Ruma, which is also part of Madare constituency. Last Saturday we were in Michael. So there's needy slums in Michael. Yeah. So that is why Madare. So yeah, my wife calls me Father Christmas. I give. I hope she's not hearing me. I give up to the last coin. Because I was supported. I feel bad when somebody comes to me and they need support, and I am in a position to support them and turn them down. I always feel like I believe in Jesus Christ, so I always feel like I have not done what Jesus Christ brought me, or God um, brought me here to do. So I always just want to make sure that I give my best. I am lucky that I am in a family where we have plans, so we set up plans, and my wife makes sure that we stick to some of the plans, so that I have to pay my rent before I go give food. So I'm also on a personal level trying to also make sure that I balance. Before giving food to other people, I made sure that I have a brother and I have a sister, that I supported my brother and my sister. I have a grandmother that I call and talk to and support every day. So I started with my inner circle. Last week, my wife and I supported my villagers. We made masks from Nairobi. We have a shamba at home. We put together some of our some of the produce from our farm, and supported our villagers. So I love giving, but now with the family, you also have to weigh. I don't want to be left alone, because I gave my everything. So I try to balance that. We have a few investments that we, as a family, that help us also to grow. We farm at home. We have small businesses that we're running. My organization also have a sustainability programs, projects that we run. So there's kind of some small thing that is coming to the organization. So I don't have to eat into the organization's funds. I'm lucky that the organization takes care of me, so I don't have to depend, or I don't entirely depend on what we are getting from the COVID-19. People are saying there are people who are thriving during the COVID-19, getting money from COVID-19. I can say straight, when looking all of you straight in the eyes, and tell you that I am getting zero support from COVID-19. I'm making sure that 100% of the things that we get from people's support goes directly into supporting the needy people. So from my heart, that makes me clean. Even if there's avocado, there's a day there were avocados, and I love avocados so much that were donated, that we're supposed to give families. So by Thursday, we're supposed to give the avocados on Saturday, but by the Thursdays, half of the avocados had ripened, and there's that temptation of wanting to carry avocado and come home with. But I was telling my team, and I want to lead by example, because the moment you do that, you encourage the people that you're working with also to feel that it is okay to take something that belongs to the community home. So even when they asked me to take avocado, I told them, and I can get home na avocado yaanze kuniuliza kama hapa ni Mathare. So those are the personal uh, personal values that I put in place, and I pass them to the team that I'm working with, and we make sure that we are as accountable, and we are as transparent, and we are as genuine as possible. About the ambition, I want the best for my community. I will not lie to you. In 2014, I tried running for Madare parliamentary seat. 2014, I was a small boy, but what drove me towards that was because I could see the wrong things happening. I could see our leaders having building toilets while they only give bursaries for 5,000 shillings. They use 20, 30 million to build toilets at the expense of education. So that is what drove me into wanting to have the best for my community. And it's one of the things that I don't regret doing because it elevated how people look at me in the community. They see me as a problem solver. They see me as a leader. And like before I ran for an office, so I also thrive a little in that. They call me Kiongozi. You feel good. It motivates you also to do more. It makes you believe you have answers to every problem. You are the solution. So if it will take me to a position where Madara is taking a wrong direction, I will not sit down with the initiatives that I'm doing in the community and watch Madara go into the deep end where we cannot pull ourselves. If I run, I will not be running for my family. My family and I are able to take care of ourselves. But I have brothers I have children that I support that goes to school, that are in high school, that are in universities, that cannot get jobs. Yet there are companies that dump their products in Madare, but they don't do even a single CSR in Madare. So those are the things that pains me a lot. And if it will make me look like everything that I've been doing since 2010 are strings attached to what I want for the ambition, so be it. But I want the best for my community. I want to see people going to school. I want to see healthcare. Right now, there's nobody, even our leaders, that are talking about even short-term of curbing this COVID-19. If there's an outbreak where we are recording, Madara has a population of over 500,000 people. If there's an outbreak where we'll be having 1,000 people infected and cannot go to Mbagadi because Mbagadi is in the farthest end, there's not even a single politician or a single leader that have said we can have a tent here. Mild cases we can handle at this level, but serious cases we will take. So those are the things that makes me want to step into those shoes. But I'm sure I am not alone, and I am not interested if we'll get people doing the right job. I am not interested. I am very comfortable where I am. But if we have our priorities upside down, I will make sure that we become role models. That is where we came from. And I'm seeing if I see leaders coming from outside and trying to impose solutions that really doesn't make impact in my community. And as somebody that was taken to school by the community, and I sit comfortable because I can drive my car and watch Netflix and feel comfortable, I will be doing a disservice to my community. So I am not planning to run for any position at the moment. But if the need be, if I see wrong things happening, I will definitely step in. I will unite my community. I will sell to them the vision that I have for the community. I will rally everybody behind what I think could be the Madare dream and make sure that we do the little that I have done. And hopefully that can give our children and our grandchildren also, because if you look at the elected leaders, most of them, I hope your candidate was not an outsider, but most of our elected leaders, they are staying in Rwanda, they only bring money and they win the positions. They don't know what people are going through in the community, and that is what pains me more.
All right, thank you very much. Billian, you can respond.
Thank you so much for the elaborate the answers. I understand where you come from now, and when you mention Mashimoni, Bondeni, number 10, you go down to Kwachif, all those areas. Just to let you know, my candidate failed, and you know, politicians don't fail. They just say we were rigged out. Yeah, we were rigged out. But what I know is politics is a 5 to 10 years investment before you can start reaping your dividends. perhaps now there are a few people, maybe I one of them, who might, because you've mentioned avocado, and I happen to have a lot of them at some point, because that is partly what we are processing, and perhaps maybe I would come there with a pickup full of avocado so that you can give to Madari people. Yeah,
Oh,
but I just want to say congratulations, and you've just made a very encouraging statement that, in short, Jesus Christ is your mentor. In short, that is what you have just said, because all these things that you are doing, I don't think any heart without him at the background is able to sustain itself without the encouragement that we draw from the Bible. So continue doing it, and a lot of things are in store for you. I brought the issue of investment, but I know when you do the right thing and to the right people, it will be brought back to you in form of a different blessing altogether. So continue doing it, and maybe one day we shall meet. I don't know when, but through Patrick, now we have met virtually. We shall meet.
Amen. Looking
great.
forward to that, my brother. Thank you so much.
So Bernard, thank you very much. That's your donation is very much important to Billian and the people of Madare. And I hope Billian now those avocado will reach those people.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe to tell Billian, it's called avocado, not avocado.
Pronunciation.
My English teacher, I can blame my English teacher. Yeah, they told us avocado. Yeah, me, I know avocado. Yeah.
All right, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So after this, Billian will I will get Bernard's number, send you, and then you can communicate that in terms of that donation. But I'm getting some. I just want to understand. Chris Fit is saying people are leaving food on the highway for those who are in need to take home. Is this happening in Kenya? I've not seen it. Am I behind news?
No, that's not. That can't happen in Kenya. Yeah. I mentioned that even if we take 100 lorries to Madari, and everybody is assured that they'll get food. Everybody is assured. There'll still be loopholes. Not everybody will get that food. So I think our system is still not organized, and we think more of ourselves too. So everybody, we don't even think about today. We also, that's why politicians, why people are stealing. They're not stealing that they don't because they don't have. They're stealing to secure tomorrow, 5 years, 10 years. So if we try that in Kenya, even those people who have it will take it because they want to make sure that they don't know what tomorrow or next month will look like. Yeah. So I think that's not in our country.
Okay, maybe Chris is talking about Europe. I'll follow up with you, Chris. It's okay, but in our country, we are very in need of food right now, and there's so many people in need. Maybe that's not happening with us. So, Conrad, maybe now you can weigh into.
Okay. Say there's a lot of love for avocado. We have some trees here. I don't know if they are mature enough. So I'm joining in from Busia, and I was really inspired. One of the things Billian was doing, I was really inspired as I was looking through it earlier on, because you are challenged as youths to be able to assist in the government in this fight against COVID. So I think I'll just have two questions, then I'll just have my remarks about it, just basing on what I've seen and what is our experience with that regard. So concerning your donation, your project, how do you ensure there's no duplicity of of your project, because there are so many. I know that there should be so many other people doing the same thing, and that will lead to you being targeting several people who are also being targeted by other people. So how do you ensure that that doesn't happen? Then another thing is how challenge because part of the reason we hear people talking about this, we don't have,
Sorry, I didn't get your first question. Well,
I'm saying like because of the nature of this thing, and because so many other, as you have said, so many other organizations are doing almost the same thing you are doing. How do we ensure there's no duplicity, so that such that not one recipient does not receive food from three other or four other sources who are doing the same thing, so that to ensure that the people in need are receiving the food, not people taking advantage and receiving multiple donations, different organization. That was my first. Then my second question was concerning the youth. How do you encourage them wherever they are? Because me, I'm joining in from Busia, because most of the things people are talking about is that they don't have money. Yeah, they always think about some macro thing. They want to do some big thing when the small, you can actually do the small thing. For example, in our case here, I come from Busia and I am a neighbor with Budalangi. Budalangi is just a few kilometers from my home, and we join together hands with fellow youth from Busia County, just a volunteer network to be able to assist in the COVID, and we approach our local government, that is the county and the national government, to see where we can, what we can do to assist them in this, and they identify the areas where we can do that. But unfortunately, we were unlucky that floods started ravaging Budalangi, which has become a worse situation with almost close to, I think, half of the area has been flooded due to the backflow of the lake and the flooding of Zoya. So for us, we don't depend on any other thing. We just depend on personal contribution. People contribute 50 shillings, 100 shillings, and we identify the need, because we work with the necessary government agency who tell us what they are doing, because they tell us we are going to distribute food. They tell us there are 5 or there are 20 or so. So you people, can you assist us in this and this and this? So that's what we do currently. But right now we are just targeting hygiene mostly, especially hand washing, because and water access, because we have an issue with communicable diseases, with flooding, people crowding in one area, especially schools and the rest of the things. So that was just a by the way. So my question was, how do you encourage the youth to be able to assist the little way they can? Because sometimes not just about monetary, it's about even your time, it's about even your what you know, what you can do, what is your skill, how can that skill impact on your society right now?
All right. So Billian,
yeah. Uh, Yeah, so I think the first question, how we are making sure that people don't take advantage of this and have getting support from multiple sources. First, we do a verification, and part of the question we ask them if they've received any food and if they're part of the government. But we ask them that question in a way that they cannot say no. We just ask them, ile chakula ya jana ulipata? You know, you just interesting ways. Right now, we've started a network of all of us, the people that are giving support in the community, so that we don't give the same areas at the same time. So we spread ourselves into different areas. So we have more resources, because as we are making masks at our center, some of the organizations are only giving food, but they also need for masks. So we are getting ways of just coming together also and seeing more resources that we have. Last week, we got the cabbages we are getting, it's not even our donation. An organization are receiving more, and they cannot give all that they are being given. So they're sharing with us. So we're also trying to learn of how to share, because we know it's our collective responsibility to make sure that we do our best, and the community depends on the decisions that we are making now and the steps that we're taking now. So if we focus it on one area and neglect another area, then we exposing that area. So we're trying to spread ourselves as possible. And for us, we do weekly. So by Monday, everybody knows that this weekend Billian will be in Uruma. So if anybody wanted to support, give their donations in Uruma, they do it in a different area. We also have our WhatsApp group. It's called SWAT. So SWAT are just different guys that are doing different things in the community, and we update each other on the things that we are doing, the challenges that we are facing, and the expectations, and what not to do or what to do, because there are some areas that are not the same as the areas that we've been to. We were in Kia Michael the other day, and that area, because we've been giving ugali, and our thinking was that everybody loves ugali, everybody would want ugali, but there are teams that have given food in that area, and they advised us that rice would do better than the unga of ugali. So those are some of the ideas that we are sharing, and we're making sure that at least within the networks that we know each other that are supporting. There are people who do it silently, that we don't even know they were there. They organize themselves, they do it. Their families that do those to their neighbors, their landlords who are doing that. The things that we cannot really monitor who is giving where, but we are making sure that we do our best. In terms of motivating young people or encouraging them, I know young people, like everything hits us hard as young people, like anything that comes, because we don't invest, and we don't invest because we don't want to invest. There are people who right now can stay for 2 years even without going to work, and they'll be comfortable. But young people, we cannot even do 1 week, because we are new at our workstation. The amount we are getting, we are supporting our younger brothers and our younger sisters. The community depends on us. Our families depends on us. So there's so many things that are attached to young people, and we are not even earning much. Our work experience doesn't allow us to earn much too. So young people are very vulnerable, and we always at the edge of giving up or losing hope. So what we do is, one, we engage them. When we are giving these foods, we make sure that we have at least some young people that are part of the thing. Some are volunteering. We try at the end of the day, we give them 100 shillings or 200 shillings. So Akirudi, he can eat chapumadondo and go and sleep. So those are some of the ways we are trying to support and also encourage young people. And if they see how selfless we come out and support the community, some of them also love. I get calls and messages. They're like, I want to join your initiative. I want to volunteer. How can I be part of this? Blah, blah, blah. Like, there's so many requests. And it's because they see how genuine we are. And we try to be role models too. We try to, as much as possible, to give them a listening ear. Like I said, most of them are the age of giving up or sliding to poverty or to doing crazy stuffs in the community. They are the people who have the power to destroy or build our communities. So we try as much as possible to manage their situations, to make sure that they're in the right mind, in right shape. And we tell them that why we don't give them much, it's because they can meet me on the road. We can go have, today I was having lunch with some youth group members. We can have lunch there, but there are those mamas in the communities that will never meet me on the streets. We will never go have lunch with them on the streets. So we're trying as much as possible to also encourage them, and also tell them that, if we work together, it will take shorter time. If we don't work together, it will take longer time. And in one way or the other, it directly affects you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Billian, for that. That was wonderful. Now I want us to maybe to move to the end of this session. So first, I will go to the parting shots from the panelists, just in this whole topic that we have discussed tonight. Then after that, I'll give Billian the opportunity maybe to talk about the future of the youth, even of our country, post this COVID-19. And maybe Billian, that will be also maybe a chance to talk to those people that you are serving and how we can move forward pamoja. So first we can go to Bernard, and then we go to Conrad, and then we go to Grace, daughter of Africa, and then now we'll come to Billian, will take us home.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patrick. Also, I will love to congratulate you even for coming up with the idea of hosting us on this particular platform, because personally it has made me to meet and even talk to people whom I had no chance of meeting. Now I'll make it a point of looking for Billian. The second thing is, Billian, even as you concentrate on slums, that is Madari. Now okay, Madari is, we have Kia Michael, Abatini, and Mlango Kubwa. There is the problem of the middle class who have been affected by the COVID. And these are people who are actually today are neglected because nobody knows they lack and they don't want to come out to show themselves that they lack. People who had jobs, who had pay slips, they were sacked or either they were relieved. This is also a crisis that probably may also need to be attended to. But I'm not saying that now you stretch yourself and start covering people who are staying in estates in a gated community. But it's a concern. Personally, I have those people who are really in distress, even as we talk right now. But nobody can focus on them. The government considers them as middle class, and you and your team down there at Madare are looking at them with one eye that we probably need some help from you guys. So they are very, very vulnerable even at this time. The next thing that I would maybe admonish all of us to do at this particular point in time, I would go to the book of James in the Bible, and James is talking about faith and action, and this is the time that all of us need to arise to show our faith doubled with our action. So it is a very, very trying moment for everyone, but there are those whom God has placed in a position better than others. If you look at Esther in the Bible, Esther was placed in a position of rescuing the Jews. And at one point, were it not for her cousin Mordecai, she would have not taken that opportunity to rescue the Jews. So you and I, we are in that position of helping others and bringing that deliverance, not deliverance in terms of salvation, but that person who is really in need somewhere. He talked about Isli being locked down, but I thought maybe the government was late because the cases now have gone past Isli. So it's like you are chasing wind. You start where it started, but it's miles away. I used to live in Uruma and Uruma Kona. I used to stay at Kwa George. So if you look at those people who are staying around that place, they work from Isili. And today it is locked down. That means out of government action, we have so many families who are now going to lack. And I can only sympathize with my brother Billian, because your cases or cases whom you are going to handle are going to increase daily and daily. So it is a clarion call for us now to join hands and help or assist Billian reach out to all these families. Everything is important and everything can save life. Thank you so much. Hoping
Wow.
to see you soon.
Wow. Thank you very much, Bernard, for that parting shot. Conrad? Conrad?
Yes. So I don't have much to say today, and just to urge Billian to continue the good work he's doing. He has inspired so many to do the kind of work he's doing, and just to encourage the rest of us who are in a position where they can do something. It doesn't it doesn't have to be big or something like that, but in a little way, if you have something to eat, if you have something, that is enough at this current time, because that is what people are doing. Just something to eat. If you have a place under your roof, if you have a food, if you can afford to eat food, that is more than enough than what other people are going through at this current time. So just urge the rest of us, especially young people, that in your own little way, you have a lot you can do to help your community in terms of combat the virus. And it doesn't have to be something big. With a skill you have, it can be your time. Even just 1 hour volunteering something that is worthwhile is enough for us to be able to help the less fortunate or the vulnerable groups in our community. Otherwise, it's just to congratulate Billy for the good work he's doing, and I've been following him on social media and looking at what he has been doing, and it's good. At least some of us will try to replicate where we can or where our hands can reach to see how we can also be able to help our communities who are in more. Otherwise, congratulations to Billion and continue with the good work. And I don't have a lorry of avocados. I just have a tree with avocados, and they can't reach you because of the lockdown. But continue with the good work, and continue inspiring more people to follow in your footsteps or to come up with better or bigger or their own projects that address the vulnerable groups.
Okay. Thank you very much, Conrad. Conrad is saying he was having some donation, but due to the lockdown, he's unable to reach you, Billion. We are sorry about that. All right. Let's go to Daughter of Africa.
Yeah, as much as I left some discussion because I was attending a call from my mom, but I'm glad to be back. But I have to say, Billion, what you're doing an amazing job, and don't give up. What you're doing
Thank
is it inspires many people around your community and beyond Kenya. You know, I'm away from home. I wish I was there. Maybe I could have helped you in one way or the other, but I really appreciate what you're doing. Just try, like, don't strain yourself so much. Just do vile moyo imekupatia. That's what you can do. And as we also, I'm a student, I'm not working, I rely on a government scholarship. So I wish I could be working, I could have supported you, to be honest.
you.
So now, and I live in a country which was
It
hit
is well.
badly, Italy. So even like, if I tell you I've not been paid, like I've not been given scholarship for 2 months, you won't believe it. So, but I really appreciate what you are doing. Just keep going. It will be fine, and I'm sure if so long as you don't give up, angels are going to come and support you to do massive work in Kenya and beyond. Since you have become COVID-19 champion, I'm sure this COVID-19 is not going to leave us soon. It's going to live with us because, like here in Italy, we had to like end the lockdown, and the prime minister said that we have to live with this virus, so we have to know how to coexist, to keep social distance, and to also wear a mask in the public. So meaning For now, we have to know how to live around our community. So thank you for coming out strongly to be a champion on this new pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. That's wonderful, Grace. Don't worry. After this COVID, after you are done with the scholarship, we look forward for you to come back and contribute to this great country. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Grace. All right, we go to Wekesa.
Is it
Wekesa,
parting shots? Is it
Wekesa,
parting
are you
shots?
there? Yeah, we are giving parting shot, and then yes.
Okay.
Wekesa,
Having
proceed.
listened, I don't know if my network is okay. Are you hearing me?
It's okay now.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Okay.
Yes.
So I wanted to tell this one to my friend. Before I go to Billian, I want to tell the daughter of Africa that in Kenya, you dare not mention Italy. They think it's a bad omen. They are worried what is happening there, but I see you are smiling. God has preserved you. And
Yes,
you are the source of hope and inspiration for all of us.
I hope
So we
so.
know, yeah, we know everything will be well sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
For
you.
Billian, I want to comment to you this statement from the good book. It's found in Philippians 1 and verse 6. It says, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it to completion until the day of Christ. So often when we begin a good cause, we are not sure. By the way, sometimes you begin with one or two resources, but you never know how God in his own grace mobilizes resources. And you have also said you are giving it your full potential, but you may not be earning from it. But I know there is a grace allowance to sustain you in the whole process. And most of the time, I want to tell you, if you do what you are doing diligently, it will be able to open a room for you in terms of your aspirations and purpose for life. For many Kenyans who have been watching you and seeing you, you have inspired them and transformed their way of looking at things. Just as J.F. Kennedy said, ask not what your country has done for you or is doing for you, but ask what you can do for your country. It shall be remembered that in such a time as this, majority of Kenyans complained about how government is taking tea for 4 million per cup or per what. But there will also be remembered that there were people who did not focus on the government failures, but they had their own initiatives and made a difference in the lives of individuals. I'm always proud sometimes when I'm on social media and I see some of those who are my students. 2008, I joined an IDB camp and I gave my life as a volunteer teacher for a full year and taught 48 students. I was not being paid, but I lived with them as their patron, as their teacher, as their father, because they were homeless. And they were standard 8 kids, and all of them did their KCP, and most of them joined high school. Some of them have finished university. Some of them are lawyers. So when I meet them, I'm always proud of them. At that moment, I gave myself to serve the community. It was fruitful because I just went somewhere and I saw the IDPs and people were mobilizing money and resources to assist them. But I asked myself, I'm just from college. I don't have nothing. What can I offer? And I just decided that I will offer my life as a living sacrifice for them. And so there is always something you can offer. If you don't have money, if you don't have food, maybe it's just a word of inspiration that they want, or maybe it's your presence. So do something as a Kenyan, what you can in the state you are in, and stop complaining. God will bless that which is in your hands. Otherwise, I've enjoyed your what you have told us, and it's a source of inspiration for us. Have a wonderful
All right.
evening.
Thank you very much, Wekesa, for that very insightful parting shot. Asante sana. So now I want to give the platform to Billian. And now, Billian, you can offer your parting shot.
I think my parting shot, I want to thank you all for this opportunity and also for having a conversation and engaging more people and just listening and hearing from all of you. We are praying for you, my friend Mageka, Grace. I know she'll be well. We've been praying for you. We love you, and as a country, we know how it feels to be away from your family, especially at these trying times. But I'm sure we will cross over to the other side soon, and we will be stronger on the other side. So yeah, hoping for the best. I think you asked about the future of the youth. For the most time, we've not been trusted by the governments. We've not been trusted by authorities. We've not been trusted at home. I remember I used to be called Mkora by some of the family members when I was starting to do things, because they always said he has his too cheeky ideas. But now when we sit down, we are now at the same level that I can share my ideas and they can take my ideas because I have been consistent. So young people that are doing stuff, young people that are starting stuff, organizations, initiatives, support groups, the best thing that you can do for yourself is just being consistent and also making sure that you think outside the box. The copy pasting will not work for us right now. I know there are many platforms that people learn from, but I want to encourage young people to come out. Right now we have a problem that the government didn't know how to solve. At first we feared. At first we locked ourselves in the houses. But when you look back and look at the potential you have, you look at the resources you have, you look at the network you have, we find that the community needs us more. So that's why we push ourselves out. So I want to encourage young people that, when they're discussing the future, they are talking about us. When they are putting together the BBI or the documents or even policies for the future, those policies will affect us, will affect our children and our grandchildren. So we should not just sit back and watch people make decisions on our behalf. We have the energy, we have the loudest voices. We are good at tweeting and throwing jabs. Let's use those platforms to engage our leaders. Let's use those platforms to make sure that we get the best from what is happening around us. With this, also the COVID-19, I want to pray and hope that all of us keep safe. that we adhere to the government regulations. I know some young people are still taking it for granted because they're seeing that many recovery cases are young people. I think we might not feel it, but the people that suffers most when you are infected by COVID-19 is not even you, it's the family, it's the friends, it's the cycle. So let's protect our circles, our families from going through that by keeping safe and protecting the people around us. I'm so humbled for this opportunity and also for my people of Madare, that we will do what we can at our capacity, at a personal level, to make sure that I stand with the community, that I support the community where I can. And it doesn't have strings attached to it. It must never have strings attached to it if you want to help. So if we have that mentality, every little support people will appreciate. But if we always look the strings attached to the support that we are getting, it also discourages the people that are supporting. So let's encourage the people that are supporting, because some are digging deep into their families, into their family savings. Some are bugging their friends. Today I had to bug some of my friends to donate a bundle or 2 or 3 of ungas. And if we don't get the positive vibe back, then it discourages us. And I know many people who have said they're not going to support because of the backlashes that they're getting. And even our leaders, we are not competing. We don't know who will be there tomorrow. We don't know how things will turn out. We don't know if we live in a society where we will not be able to even make some of the things that we used to do normally. So let's just come together, put our differences aside, come together knowing that we have a common goal, we have a common challenge as a country, as a continent, and also as a East Africa community. Yeah, so thank you so much, and God bless Kenya, God bless Madare.
Wow, thank you very much, Billian. That was so amazing discussion. We were really humbled to have you on the platform, sharing with us about your initiative, about the future of Kenya, the future of the youth. This was so important conversation. So I want to end it there. I don't want to add anything. Thank you very much, everyone who joined tonight's conversation. I was also even very happy to see Fred Amisi. Fred Amisi is also someone I look up to. So asanteni sana. See you tomorrow. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Billian Igwe.
Thank you all too, yeah? Thank you, bye-bye.
Moyo wangu umekupa weke, nimefungwa tena mjinga, nimejileta gerezani tena, sikuwaza nitakuwa mateka. Jua ulinizungusha sana, yaliyo ni mambo ya jana, kupenda wewe sijuti. Maneno yalisemwa mengi sana, na wakati nilikata tamaa.